back that we need to have a mindset change in this whole sector. We need to improve on. We need to be very sincere in whatever we are doing. Agriculture alone will not do a miracle. They will guide, but they will not. They cannot be everywhere. So we need to come and be able to regulate ourselves and present correctly all the data that we're supposed to do what? To present that I sprayed on this day with this, and the traceability system takes care of the information is correct, then we shall have problems. It's not, I don't want to take over from Mr. Lewis, but let us move on to the next. Like I said, Mr. Lewis, you'll take your seat, and then prepare questions for him, prepare questions for everybody here, but most importantly now, let me go to present not my ideas, but the ideas of the private sector meeting that met here on Monday. Monday was 20th. We had a session similar to this one, and it did not include anybody from government. It did not include, so the private sector spoke their mind. It may not be conclusive, but I will not add what I think belongs to me. I will just leave it as it is, and I'll be very brief. One of the challenges that came out very clearly was a weak regulatory framework, low compliance, and conflicting extension messages from stakeholders, which expose the sector to interception. Yes, we appreciate that there are some solutions to this. We have NPPO, that is MAIF, development partners in this room, like I've said, and the private sector. We should work together to support capacity development for the private sector to also self-regulate. We are not going to talk about what is happening. In Kenya, I think examples came up. They are doing very well in self-regulation, and we think that if we did that, we should be able to harness good results. And short and long-term action points were to identify and empower regional and local champions of compliance with existing SPS standards to popularize compliance. I think one of them in Uganda is the Lady Farmer model, which is being championed by MAIF. This should be shared, Secretariat, by MAIF, and train such local champions for continued improvement. Have the MAIF and NPPO and the developing partners continuing to support harmonization of conflicting extension, misinformation, and recommendation. In particular, agents from agricultural input dealers and agents from exporters should communicate the same information message to farmers. We found it very interesting, and we're happy that we have CropLife represented here today. We found it very, very interesting that in the field we have two messages. One from MAIF through the lead farmers, that this is the list of chemicals that are permitted. This is how you should use them. Then another one is from the input suppliers that use everything. This is the cheapest for you to use. So we need to harmonize and work together so that we decrease on the interceptions. We need to fast track authorizing the sale of effective plant protection products in controlling FCM. FCM is forest codling moth. When the forest codling moth attacked, there was needed to use more and more stronger pesticides because it is a very funny creature. It eats camulali, which is very, very bitter, but it is very hard to be seen. If you put the things in the box, you have checked everywhere, there is no hole. When the boxes arrive in Amsterdam, because of the shaking and the temperatures, it would have gone out and is moving on top of the box. So the inspectors don't take any time to very easy to prove. So it has given us a lot of problems. So, but it was mentioned that there are some effective agents and products, plant protection products on the market, which are allowed in the European Union, and but here in Uganda they are not yet on the list of products. And we thought that is something very simple. They gave an example of Movento. Who gave us that example? He was here. Is he here in the room today? They gave two. Actually, there were two. So maybe they are very effective and they are permitted. We should take. Now, long term, we thought of developing a standard to guide self-regulation and certification scheme. And of course, this goes along with the label which will be introduced for safe products and awareness created strongly for our own people to make a choice of eating safe. Before even the law comes, we should be able to grow safe for both exports and the local market and find a way of promoting it locally. I believe that many people in this room will go safe. I've known Mr. Zake here. Whenever we used to sit, he would push away the salads until I would ask him, why are you pushing them away? He said they have chemicals. Because he used to live in South Africa, where the food is. So in your own country, what do? You wash, somebody washes and keeps them for some time, so that maybe he guesses the PHI, post-harvest interval, that maybe if I keep for 5 days, now they are safe, all the chemicals would have disintegrated and now. So that is a very important issue. We need ourselves to have that mindset of eating safe and producing safe, and so that we can work with the lead farmers in the different parts of and even the exporters, introduce your farmers to this lead farmer scheme so that they can work with so many, so that we can, in addition to producing pineapple, tomatoes and whatever, we should do. We think that for quite many years, I think Patricia is here, Ejalo, yes, from UNBS. For quite many years, we produced a standard there was a standard, the code of practice for horticulture, spearheaded by ABI Trust. But that standard has been on the shelf, and as I was in the sector, as an exporter and as a farmer and whatever, I noted that people did not know about this code of practice. So in recent, I've been bringing it out, that we should implement it, but this time as private sector, so that we can complement each other. If you all know, the strongest standard in the EU and other countries is the global gap. Grace knows this, and I think she was looking at it as one of the things we should. So global gap will help us access markets and move away from the ethnic, I call them ethnic markets, where we are stuck now. But when we compare with the Tanzania, which Rwanda and Kenya, for them, they have concentrated on what? On the global gap, and their exports are increasing. But where do you move from to get to the global gap? Katie has been telling me that you have started low, not so? She says you cannot jump to global gap. Let those ones who can go to global gap go, but others we start with the local standard, or we shall call it Yuga gap, or we shall call it Palo gap. And we manage it locally to submit. But this standard should meet all the requirements of the NPPO, if not exceed, because you cannot again have it lower. You said that for that profenofos, I don't know, the other time I was telling them about that whatever. What is the chemical which they normally use? Rocket. Yeah, when you go there, you say rocket does it, but rocket has a very poisonous compound. So that is one of the things, and we need to develop a scheme for co-financing the inspections between exporters and MAIF in a scheme designed to lower the cost of inspection and improve compliance. I would like maybe to comment on that also. Maybe we need let us not talk about financing. Sometimes when we talk about financing, then the issue of the cess comes in, then people will grow. But we need to develop a scheme which will enable us effectively inspect and trust the information flow from either party and make it easier, so that we limit the interceptions at pack house, we limit the interceptions at the exit, and we finally we have no inspections at the ports of entry in Europe. We need to ensure traceability of FFP products to enable tracing and correction of the source of the problem whenever, yes. This, I don't have to re-emphasize this. In order to achieve all these standards, be it global gap, be it food safety, whatever, food safety management systems, there is always the element of what? Traceability. Because you have to demonstrate that you are in control, that what you are saying is correct and you did it correctly. And you have applied the right chemical at the right time, you have complied with the post-harvest interval, you have complied with the hygienic requirements, you don't have, so that product is safe. Even if it's for the local standard which we are planning to do, it will also be the same. And we think that we shall have so many people buying our products and have people like Mr. Zake able to go back to eat those fresh fruits and vegetables without fear. We have a challenge of few and inconsistent dialogue opportunities that render the subsector reactive, slow to mobilize for corrective action, and impermeable to the flow of new information. Yes, this subsector has been very turbulent and reactive, and people have been. You heard my brother was sacrificed because he attended such a meeting sometime, which I also attended in Nekavira. He was shot by out of his seat, but now we are back, and the people who shot him maybe are in the room, I don't know. So that is the level that it has reached to. But we are happy, Louis, we are very happy that such a thing will not happen again. Because this issue of food safety, the issue of plant health, the issue of animal health, our own safety is very, very important. So we are not going to now bring these, confusion, fighting, and whatever. We are going to do what? To work together. Our own economy is also important. Now, we have been slow to mobilize for corrective action. And for many years, this sector has received support. I can see projects as far as more than 25 years ago, but we have not had a substantive or development, and I wonder why. So this time, we need to come together and work and make it work and make a business, see our volumes grow, attract the investors to come and commercialize the agriculture, work very well with the regulators, stop the blame game, because the regulators are actually part and parcel of the whole system. They have to be there. Yes, they have to be there. And then we also have to do it. Private sector has also to do its part, and developing partners are ready to be with us. So we need to work together to mobilize whatever is required, whatever resources to ensure appropriate corrective action. And we need to have all the information flow very clear and out to all stakeholders, including the farmers in the villages. Some people used to say that this sector employs so many small-scale farmers, and therefore, but yes, it does, and we need to work with them. In Kenya, on average, all exporters, they grow only 20% of what they do what, and then they export. They collect 80% from outgrowers. So I will remain, but they have to do the right thing. So proposed solutions were HOTFresh to convene regular, monthly, breakfast meetings open to actors in the subsector. And this is the beginning. We think that success of subsectors like the coffee, I worked in coffee some years back before I joined UNBS. I was in Chagaranjivolo Cafe. We used also to run with the government around to get proper coffee, and I was the one to sign off all the consignments to go. And I saw all vices in the coffee industry. But over the years, they have fought to harmonize the quality. Because at one time, Germany, I think, was leading the EU to reject Ugandan coffee due to Oshura toxin, something which, because when you grow it on the ground, it develops that mold. So they have been successful. So we think that if we continue this dialogue, we should be able, and it was mentioned by the executive director, Mr. Zake, that we shall continue with the different stakeholders. We shall not tire. Input suppliers, the sprayers. I think it was Mr. Henry Kasuma who mentioned that even the sprayers are very, very what? Important, etc. So this one will continue. We need that in the short term, short and long term, we think that all stakeholders committed to attending these meetings to discuss emergent issues and provide a representative response. We cannot make these meetings so big of 100 people because normally the message is distorted along the way, or the message doesn't come out well. So we need to start small, be small, and take the messages out. Long term is expanding the dialogue to include more categories of stakeholders and bigger participation per category. That means maybe going out to the districts moving with our partners. What if NPPO, when they're engaging different stakeholders in the different regions and districts? We noted that there were inadequate partnerships undermine the subsector's capacity to identify and exploit synergies in controlling interceptions. I think this we have elaborated a little bit. So the subsector needs potent partnerships among members of the sector and also across with other relevant entities. This is well demonstrated today, where we have all the associations in one room, which had not happened in the past, and now we are working together. And all other stakeholders, I mentioned to you that it is also very unusual to get the crop life represented by Bukola Chemicals in the room. And I think before we conclude today, they will need to give us a word and maybe representative from the National Bureau of Standards. We don't have much time, but we could have 5 minutes for each. So the associations will work together with the Uganda National Farmers Federation to contribute towards a horticultural strategy which is being developed, and that should start with I think they said next week. Names have been provided of those, and the reports will be coming back. There will be an engagement with Agrochemicals Board and CropLife to air out the issues on agrochemicals, use of fertilizers, it is not there, and the seed. Yes, the fertilizers and seed are very important. So there's lack of working capital to facilitate trade. People always will talk of working capital. There is no money. But in the room here, we have Mr. Kagawa, yes. He's working on such a product with the PCP. There's a product. So sometimes money is there, but the problem is that you don't know how to apply for it. And when you apply for it, you don't use it correctly and you don't report it back. So take some time to talk to him. He's here and he promised that he will be attending such dialogues if he's invited in time, and also be accessible to provide some more information on this product when he's designing it. He wants to see the opportunities there, what are the hurdles, who is there, who can receive it, are they the correct people, etc. So he'll make a recommendation. But I think he has a parcel of $3 million, which is to go through circles and managed by a fund manager by the names of Palo Capital Partners. And of course, yes, Palo Capital. We have also others in the room. The sector is not well represented at the key entry points in the export markets. Yes, we are told that Kenya and Rwanda have their ambassadors in the EU market. So when a problem occurs, they promptly intervene and find quick solutions. I think that is where the short and long-term things came, that we should also request for government of Uganda to facilitate validation of our product or our presentation of the product in the market, because it is so poor. The boxes reach there when they are broken apart. We are not going to show you the photographs, we have shared them before. So we need to ensure that we get support to present our products in the market in a good way, present so that they can fetch a good price. So packaging material is key. So we need to deploy personnel to handle fruit at entry points in the main foreign markets and engage EU authorities promptly when need arises. Kenya has done it. Rwanda has done it. They have their ambassadors in the markets there. And I think Rwanda has also, and Kenya, I don't know, they also have their own wholesale cold rooms. They have cold rooms where the products arrive and they can be distributed from there. Then we need to revise taxes on the packaging material for FFV, produce for export. This is a long-term thing, which I think you should also take through Private Sector Foundation Uganda. Mr. Zake, as a member of Private Sector Foundation Uganda, it lobbies very well with the government through Ministry of Finance. Opportunities. The group explored potential regional markets which don't have a lot of hurdles, like South Sudan. I was on a team which went to South Sudan, Juba. I saw that most of the food in the markets in Juba actually come from Uganda, But this is not organized what? Export. They just trucks, they go across the border with the loads of food, eggs, meat. Many consignments are also going to Congo. We have Algeria, where I think we're going, South Africa, etc. Those examples were cited. And in the room here, we have very, very good exporters or representative exporters who can give us some more ideas. And the farmers have faced hurdles. You grow for the exporters take your products, and they don't pay because they say that the products you supply them were intercepted. So that has been a very big war, and we have to be happy. We need to look at these markets. Though also I need to note that one of the biggest exporters, who is less known, is Thomas and the company. Thomas and the company exports to regional